And good evening, everyone. Thanks for clicking on WDTV.com. I'm Carrie Lingaliotis.
And I'm Ben Katko. Here's your top stories we've been following here on 5 News today. The end of an era at the post office may be near. After losing $16 billion last year, the Postmaster General is expected to announce today plans to cut costs that could include ending Saturday delivery for first-class mail.
The Postal Service has already slashed hours and trimmed its workforce by 35%. Now, the cut, which is expected to start in August, could mean savings of about $2 billion a year. Now, they will continue to deliver packages 6 days a week, as package delivery has actually increased 14% since 2010.
A Preston County man has a month to decide how he wants to plead to 75 counts of animal cruelty. 42-year-old David Wayne Shahan was just released from jail yesterday, a few weeks after sheriff's deputies allegedly seized more than 100 animals from his property. Those animals include 61 chickens, 34 rabbits, 7 dogs, and 5 goats. One police official said he got a tip about mistreatment and also found 8 dead rabbits and a dead dog there last month. If Shahan is convicted, he could have to pay up to $2,000 in fines and spend up to 6 months in jail for each count.
Now, it had been a while since we heard anything new about the case against the owner and some of the employees at the Hot Stuff Cool Things store in Clarksburg and Buchanan. In fact, last thing we heard was that all of the defendants except for one had pleaded guilty to their charges. But today we got a hold of a superseding federal indictment that was just filed a day ago. Now, 5 News was there when police officials raided and shut down that store last April. Here's a rundown of all the defendants who were named in that 41-page indictment. First up is the owner, Jeffrey Paglia. Then we have John Skruck, who was a manager. And finally, there's Jeremiah Phillips and Derek Hallip, who both worked at the Hot Stuff locations in Clarksburg. Now, keep in mind, these are additional charges, so we don't know what's going to come of this just yet. Now, in all, there's 27 counts listed. A list of some of those charges are right there on your screen. Now, Skruck is the only one who did not plead guilty to his original charges. He was scheduled to go on trial this month. And the Mountain State lost more than 1,200 coal mining jobs in the last quarter of 2012, nearly 2/3 of them in strip mining.
That's right. Federal Mine Safety and Health Administration data shows the number of jobs dropped to 21,400. The Charleston Gazette says that's based on disclosures that operators file with MSHA. Production from strip mining was down to 8.1 million tons, half of what it was at the end of 2008. Analysts say the trend will likely continue because of competition from natural gas and surface mines in Wyoming's Powder River Basin. The industry often complains about anti-coal environmental regulations, but the data show employment levels remain as high as they were when the Obama administration began a series of regulatory actions to reduce the environmental harm that coal causes.
Well, it looks like the controversial MTV show about some young, wild West Virginians is going to be around for a little longer. We learned today that Buck Wild has been renewed for a 2nd season. Now, the reality show has drawn criticism from a variety of quarters, including U.S. Senator Joe Manchin, for what some see as a stereotypical negative portrayal of the state's youth. The series follows 9 friends who find crazy ways to fill their free time, from clubbing in Morgantown to turning dump trucks into swimming pools. Now, Buck Wild has become the #1 original cable series on Thursday nights for 12 to 34-year-olds. MTV says it pulls in an average of 3 million viewers per episode. The season finale with 2 back-to-back episodes will air tomorrow night at 10. That's going to be right after some cast interviews, which starts at 8.
The teen pregnancy rate in the Mountain State is on the decline, and that's the good news. The bad news, though, our state ranks among the top 10 in the country for children born to teenage mothers. This is according to a recent study by Kids Count, a group that takes a look at what kids need. The latest numbers from Kids Count show that 45 out of every 1,000 girls here will have a baby before she's out of her teenage years. If you want to compare that to something, the national average is about 35 out of every 1,000 girls. Researchers say that the most striking numbers are the differences between every county. The county with the lowest rate is Mon County with a rate of 14 for every 1,000. The worst, McDowell County, with a rate of 95 per 1,000. The director of Kids Count said the best way to prevent teens from getting pregnant is effective sex education. The director also mentioned a lot of mothers tend to live in poverty, which also doesn't help. She told us that oftentimes leads to kids dropping out of school and losing a direction for their lives, which leads to them getting pregnant. All right, before we go, let's take a peek at what our newsroom's working on for Fox 10 at 10 and 5 News at 11 tonight. First up, a familiar scam is going around once again, aimed at emptying your wallet. We'll tell you what you need to look out for.
Plus, we're going to take a look at the rising drug addiction numbers and talk with a recovering addict about the road to recovery and just how tough it can really be.
And that's what's making news this evening. Of course, be sure to tune in to Fox 10 at 10 with Carrie Lynn Galliotis, 5 News at 11 with myself tonight for the latest news and weather.
And until then, have a great night.